بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وأعنا على العمل بما علمتنا. O Allah, we ask you to teach us what benefit us and let us benefit from what we learn and increase our knowledge. This is lesson or halaqah number 41 of our halaqas and lessons knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And today inshaAllah we are going to talk about one of Allah's characters, Al-Adl. Al-Adl translate into English as the just. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك. He is the one who created you, who proportioned you, and who balanced you. Al-Adl, the just in Arabic, is to be in the middle. It's not too much, not too little, not too excessive. Being fair, being just, doing the right thing. It's a balance between too much and too little. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the just, and His justice is absolute, perfect, because He is the creator of the universe. And He is also just in His creation, in His orders to His creatures, and in His actions. When we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the absolute perfect justice, or the absolute perfect just, what we mean is even a small ant somewhere in this earth, in this universe, that little ant will be treated justly by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no escape from Allah's justice. Everything in His creation. There is no 99.999% just. It's perfect. 100%. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, وَلَوْ تَرَى إِذْ يَتَوَفَّى الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا الْمَلَائِكَةِ يَضْرِبُونَ وُجُوهَهُمْ وَأَدْبَارَهُمْ وَذُوقُوا عَذَابَ الْحَرِيقِ ذَلِكَ بِمَا قَدَّمَتْ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَيْسَ بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. Allah described a scene that happens at the time of death of the people who did not believe in Him. He said, if you just see when the one who refused to know their Creator, to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the angels comes and beat their faces and their backs and taste the punishment of fire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not ever unjust to these servants. And Dhallam in Arabic language is Sighatul Mubalagha. That's mean too much or even too little. That's mean even to little things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be just to it. Now, we said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just in His creation, just in His orders to His creatures, and just in His actions. So how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just in His creation? If you take a human being, for example, you will find everything in the creation of the human being is balanced. It's not too much, it's not too little. The position of the head, the arms, the legs, everything is balanced. The eyes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the eyes has a limit of how much it can see. Imagine if you get to see all the microbes and the bacteria around you and your skin everywhere else. You would go crazy. Or if you to see all the stars and all the galaxies, it would be too much. So you have a limit where you can see comfortably. The ears, the hearing. There is only a narrow limit of sound wave that we can hear. We can't hear above it or below it. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it, we can hear more than that, nobody can go sleep. But subhanallah is a very limit. You can sleep nicely and gently at night. During the day you can hear what you need to hear to carry out your business. And if you look at the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, anything in this universe, everything is created balanced, proportionate. Not too excessive and not too little. Not too enough, not too much. In a balanced, in a just way. He's also just in His orders. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who created everything and created us, He is telling us, I'm not going to ask you to do something that you can't do. Otherwise, it would be unfair, God, unjust. Like tying your hands in the back and throw you in a lake and say, swim. Swim what? So, from this, you would see the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you fast 1 month of the year, not all year. And if you have a good excuse not able to fast, Allah gave you permission to break your fast. When He ordered you to do Hajj, to travel to Mecca and do Hajj, if you can't afford it physically and financially, you don't have to do it. If you're ill that you can't pray standing up and do the ruku' and the sujood, you can sit down. You can lay down and do your salah. But just in His orders, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not put orders and do's and don'ts on the self that it cannot fulfill. So what's that mean in real life? That means when a person reach puberty and they are in their right mind and the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala get to them, they have no excuse not to follow Allah's way all the way in all their aspect of life, whenever they can. There is no excuse. Wherever there's an excuse, Allah talks about it. If you were forced to do something, you're off the hook. If they take you and put you in prison and never give you water to make wudu, you don't have to make the wudu. You don't have water. Even if you're somewhere in the desert and there's no water and there's no food and the only thing found is a piece of pork, if you think you're going to die, and you're really going to die if you don't eat, you need to eat enough to make you survive. Allah gave you permission. Even Allah gave you permission if somebody catch you and threatened you and said, you need to say that you don't believe in Allah, Allah gave you the permission to say that word to save your life. As long as your heart is with Him. So He gives us leanways. He knows us. But don't ever think reach puberty in your right mind and the message got you, you know about Him, that there's anything can stop you from becoming a real true believer. There is no excuse. That's why when Allah talks about the punishment of nar and the rewards of Jannah, it's forever. Some people have problems. Okay, I live 60 years here. Isn't it just unfair just to be punished for 60 years? Why forever? Because if you live forever in this life, not believing in Him in the beginning, you're going to stay on it forever. Whatever you die on, that's how, if you will stay in this life, you're going to be on. If you die a true believer, you're going to be a true believer no matter how old you get. If you're a non-believer, no matter what happened, you're going to be non-believers. Allah give you the time and the power and all the tools to know Him in this life. And He is not ordering you to know Him without giving you the proper tools. So you can't say, well, yeah, I learned about Islam and about Allah, but my language is poor. That's not an excuse. I was born in such and such country. That's not an excuse. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough time to go and learn. That's not an excuse. Allah gives you the tools to get to know Him. He is not going to ask you to do something and He did not give you the power and the tools to do it. That's how He is just in His orders. He created you and He knows your potentials. It's not you or me who decide I can or I can't. The one who made you decide I can or I can't. And that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is really no excuse. That's why some people at the time of prophets, they saw the miracles in the front of their eyes. Stuff that nobody can do, and they still did not believe. Why? Because they don't want to. They have a choice. So there is no excuse of I can't do it. With all due respect, you can do it, you just don't want to. That's the reason. Allah is just. If somebody is right, is not in his right mind, you're not obligated. Then some people, their mental thinking that's not appropriate enough. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not order them to be obligated to the rules of Islam. If you're sick in Ramadan, in the fasting month, Allah gave you permission to break your fast. He knows. And He knows when to give you permission or not. So this is a very important aspect, realistic and practice in real life. His character, al-adl, the just. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, la yukallifu nafsan illa wus'aha. He does not order you to do or don't unless you have the capacity to do it. The issue is, I don't want to. Okay? Now we're having a halaqah, we're having a lesson. Some people choose to sit down and listen, some people choose not to. But He gives you the ear and the minds to know there is something learning about Allah going on right now. Some people choose to listen, some people choose not to listen. You can't complain about I don't have time, my business. When are you going to have time? When you die? So He is just in His creation His creatures, He is just in His orders that He gives His creatures. Because the problem, some people say, oh brother, these days everybody is doing riba, everybody is doing interest, so we have to do it. Oh, all the ladies, nobody wearing hijab, so we don't have to wear hijab. Oh, everybody's doing this. Oh, everybody's doing that. Well, you tell that to Allah on the Day of Judgment. And then you go with them. You want it to be with them, you go with them. Each one of us have the power and the capacity to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala order you to do it. And when you can't, Allah give you permission in certain circumstances. And the third part is Allah just in His actions. And this is also a very important practical aspect. As we learned in the previous halaqas, every action in this universe, you moving your legs and arm, you're listening, I'm talking, he's doing, they're doing, somewhere else going on, all the actions are done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by Allah His power. And all of His action is absolute, perfect, just. Even though sometimes it looks to us like there's no justice here. Now, the complete justice is going to be in the Day of Judgment. It's an ongoing process. Sometimes you would hear a story, or you get to see part of an event. It seems like unjust. Always remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything and you don't. And you only seen a small part of this event or heard a small part of this story. You don't have the complete knowledge and the perfect knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is where the believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. The true believer would say, I believe in Allah, the absolute perfect just. Right now, I can't know everything about everything. But in the Day of Judgment, everything will be clear. Because sometimes people do bad things, and they keep doing it. And they die doing it. And it seems like they never get punishment of what they did. I mean, look at Fir'aun. Fir'aun died, and he had the army, and he was after Musa alayhi salam, and then he died. But all that time, he was the Pharaoh, he was the king, he was killing the children of Israel, he was abusing their women, saying astaghfirullah that he is the God. And Allah let him do it all the way until he died. It seems like he didn't get punishment in life. But this life is just a test. This is not the final stage where people will be punished or rewarded. This is just a test. The test ends at the time of death. Then comes the Day of Judgment. Then the perfect just will come, and everybody, all the accounts will be settled. So all his actions, it might seem to us, this is not fair, this is injustice. Yes, we do, human beings do things that are unjust. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the guidelines and give us, if somebody steals, they have to be punished. If somebody killed somebody with no reason, there's a had you have to do. So there's things in life, we have to do. But all of these events that happens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala happened through His perfect just. Because if it did not happen in His perfect just, He would not be the perfect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that does not apply to Allah who we believe in. But the issue is that we do not know everything. There was a little story, I'm going to mention a little story I read back in early days, in the Middle East, when there was occupation of other big countries and stuff. But one of the rulers, he ordered his police chief to capture one person and to kill him the next day or 2 days after. So that police chief found that person, put him in prison. And he told the ruler there that I've got him, we're gonna kill him 2 days later. That prisoner escaped. So that chief of police was so scared of the ruler, he has to find someone else in the place of that prisoner who escaped. So he went out and captured the first person he saw and put him in prison. And the police chief told him, we're going to kill you tomorrow. Why? Because the ruler ordered me to kill that person who supposedly killed someone else for some reason. It wasn't clear. So this the chief of police, expected that the person he caught and put in prison in a place with that one to be angry and mad and complain, say, that's not. And he noticed that he's very calm and he started crying. So the chief of police got very, concerned and he said, you don't seem to mind to die tomorrow. You should be screaming and complaining. And he said, no. He said, why not? He said, because 30 years ago, I killed somebody. And nobody knew that I killed him. 30 years ago. And the punishment there was, you kill somebody for no reason, you have to be killed. And now I'm getting my punishment in this life. So if you look at it from the beginning, it's like, poor guy, he was just walking down the street and they grabbed him and put him in prison. But that poor guy killed someone else 30 years ago. Nobody knew about that he killed. And he escaped the punishment. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it might seem people are escaping punishment and being unjust and get away with it. No way. Even if you die a tyrant ruler or a bad person, there is no escape in the day of judgment. Actually, your problems start when you die. Like what we learned in the ayah, Allah talking about the non-believers, that the angels beat their faces and their backs at the time of death. So there is no escape from Allah's justice. We only know what's Allah let us know. We don't know what's happening outside on that street. Allah knows. You don't know what's happening in your homes right now. You think you know, but you don't really know. Allah knows. Allah knows everything. So the just in his action is there all the time. And this is where the real test for the true believers comes. The arrogant, the stuff he's saying, it doesn't enter my brain. This is not just. When you have the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you can say you don't understand. But we are creatures. And He is the Creator. Now, if you truly believe in Him, this is what Allah told you in His Quran. And you are under no obligation to believe it or not. You have a choice. But if you truly believe, if you see unjust going, try to help the people that being unjustly treated any way you can, fairly. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But the true believer in their heart and their mind know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-adl, the just. Even if that wrongdoer, that oppressor, that tyrant person will escape this life, or seems like they escape this life, they will never escape. Allah is just. Because what's the end of all of this? For all of us, no matter how rich, how powerful, how poor, how healthy, how sick, you're gonna die. Now, if you have the power, when the time of death comes, to say, no, I'm not going to die, then more power to you. Then you can escape Allah's justice. But find me somebody who can stop death when it comes. Even Pharaoh, who said, I am your God. And how did he die? He choked on some water, drowned, choked on water. It's not like somebody came and, kill him or stab him. Just simple water you drink. So there is no escape from Allah's justice. But the true believer, this is their internal belief. If you are in a position to help the people who are receiving injustice, good. Do it any way you can. Because that is part of Allah's justice on this earth. Sometimes you have to be just with your kids. When two fightings, one of them beat the other one for no good reason. You have to stand up for the other one. Make the other one apologize and work it out. You have to be just in your own home. But the complete just of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be seen in the day of judgment. Okay? Will be seen in the day of judgment. This life, وَإِن كُنَّا لَمُبْتَلِينَ, Allah is telling us in so many ayats, we are put you here to test you. So a few of you is going to be rewarded, and a few of you are going to be punished, just to keep people going. But this is not the place for the punishments or for the rewards. This is the test. This is like when you take down, I don't know if they're still doing it, in the old days when they distribute the exam papers and they give you the answer sheets, A, B, C, D, E, F, each question, whatever it is, and you're sitting there and the proctor is walking. Some students will mark the correct answer, some will correct the wrong answer. Some sit down and draw pictures, have no idea what they're doing. What did the proctor do? Did he say, no, this is the wrong answer, you need to mark this one? No, you have a choice. And this is the test of this life. You have choice. If you choose to do bad things, Allah will let you do it under His command. If you choose to do the right thing, Allah will give you the power to do it. But it's just simply a test. So don't get too confused and too concerned about, I've been, worshiping Allah for 10 years and nothing good happened to me, or this tyrant person has been killing people and stealing and they live in palaces and not being punished, and where is justice and all this. Justice is there. We just have limited information that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let us have. One also with the practical application of this name, Al-Adl, the just. Or one of also the ayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about, that His complete justice will be in the day of judgment. He said, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul it's going to taste death. So it's not really completely gone. It's going to taste death. Death is basically the beginning of no end. It's not the end of everything. For us in this life, what it looks like is the end, but in reality, in Allah's way, it's just the beginning of no end. Allah says the soul will taste. Every soul is going to taste death. وَإِنَّمَا تُوَفَّوْنَ أُجُورَكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Listen to this very carefully. And you will be given your full compensation. You're going to be given your full compensation, your full reward, your full punishment in the day of judgment. That's why one of our basic Iman foundations is the day of judgment. When you read the Quran, a lot of times Allah combined believing in Him and the day of judgment. Because if you take the day of judgment out, of course there's no justice in this world. If everything ends by death, of course there's no justice. But the day of judgment is reality. And some people would say, well, how come I'm going to be alive after I'm dead? Well, how did you come here when you were born? 100 years from now, where were you? Somewhere else, and you decided all of a sudden to bring yourself to this life? You made the decision? Who made the decision to bring you here and let you grow up? It's the same one who can bring you back again at any time. So all the accounts, you want to call them, simply put, will be settled in the day of judgment. Astaghfirullah Azim, not only make a comparison, but it's like paying taxes. You spend your years here working and here and buying this and paying taxes this, and then at the end, you have to file your taxes. So all your deductions, whatever, everything is accounted for and everything is done. You might get some money, you might not get some money. So the day of judgment is where the final, the complete justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will show. Another practical application is we need to be just in our life, in our daily life, in our daily activity, just with yourself. This soul you have, you're responsible for it. Be fair to it. Teach her about the one who created her. An-nafsul mutma'inna. Make it an-nafsul mutma'inna, the peaceful self, the peaceful you. Learn about the one who created her and created you. You're responsible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَظْلِمُ النَّاسِ شَيْئًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَظْلِمُ النَّاسَ شَيْئًا وَلَكِنَّ النَّاسَ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not wrong any soul, any human being. But people wrong themselves. Don't be with the one who's going to say, I wish, at the day of judgment, when it's too late. Be just to yourself. Be just to your family. Be just to your kids. Be just to the people around you as much as you can. At your place of work, at anything that you involve, try to be just. Try to be balanced. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to be. That's another practical application of this name. And the true believer This name make them very comfortable inside, no matter what happened in the outside. No matter how much wrongdoing you see happening, and what looks like unjust, and sometimes people do unjust. With Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the just, al-adl, everything will be taken care of. Just don't be in a hurry. Everyone has to finish their destiny, their journey in this life, and then when the day of judgment comes, everything will be settled for everybody. And the stuff that you were worried about in this life and complain about, and where is justice? And some people, astaghfirullah, they start saying, where's Allah? And everything will be so clear. And you realize, a final reminder, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created us and He knows us. The example He gave us in Surah Al-Kahf, when Musa alayhi salam went with Sayyidina Khudr, and I'm just going to mention one part of that story. When Sayyidina Khudr made the ship looks like it's damaged, and Musa got a little anxious, a little angry that, why did you do that? These are poor people. This is the only ship they have, and they let us on it free, and you come in and make it look bad, try to make a hole in it so it will sink. I mean, that's not right. That's not just. But Musa, the prophet, who Allah talked to him, did not know the whole story. But Sayyidina Khudr knew. So Allah trying to show us at the end of their journey, Sayyidina Khudr told him, the reason I did that is there was a ship of a tyrant king. He will take every ship he sees from anybody by force. So I wanted to make it look like it has a damage in it. So when he sees the damage in the ship, what do you want to do with a damaged ship? You just leave it alone. It's going to sink. So he's going to leave them alone. And if I didn't do that, he's going to seize the ships. He is going to take the ships. You're probably going to kill them and take the ships. So now you have a full story. So you understand why Sayyidina Khudr made that action. And you can apply this to everything in this life. When you start thinking why this and why this has happened, and this is supposed to be that way and that's supposed to be, the true believer always come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, read a little bit of Quran, understand it, practice it, the solution comes to you. Always remember, Allah knows everything, and we only know what Allah permit us to know. And always remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-adl, and He is the just. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.